I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Well, I'll tell you what, I got two teams that got me gassed up. It's going to be a hell of a battle. Be like two dogs fighting over a milk bucket.
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Good evening. Welcome in, everybody, to the Group of 5 Guys podcast. Tonight, we have MACtion preview. It might be the best conference, just the most fun conference in all of college football. You know, we're all going to get down, break down our championship predictions, talk about our best players, go over under on the win totals for this season. Go around the group real fast, see how everybody is doing on this fine evening. Jesse Grisham, how are you, sir?
Doing well, a lot better than last week. Last week I was down bad, down and out, didn't have a lot of energy for the show. I am back today. We'll say as a man in his 30s, you don't really have a lot, to be prideful for besides, your home, your family, and maybe your job or career. Something I take pride in is I like to say that I can smoke good meats on my Traeger. I am proud of what the ribs and the pork and the Boston butts that come off my Traeger. Jeff, I know that you're a professional as well. But something happened this weekend that really has shook me a little bit to my core. My wife decided that she wanted to give it a go. She said, I am going to cook a beef brisket. She wanted to do it for the past month. It happened from whenever when she went to Texas on a business trip. She tried some brisket. She realized then, she goes, Jesse, I actually do like brisket. It's just like the ones in Texas. And then when we went to Nashville, we got to have a little tour. Zeke, what was that place we were at, that barbecue spot in Nashville?
Martin's Barbecue downtown.
Martin's Barbecue, the head chef or head cook, he took me and Michaela on a little tour and showed us how he does a brisket. Long story short, Michaela was invested in this thing, and she bought this. Well, sorry, I purchased the piece of meat. She handled everything else. We put that bad boy on at 2 a.m. and cooked it for 16 hours. She trimmed the fat like a pro. It is the best brisket we've had at this house. So now I'm just a little shooketh, if you will, because now I don't know where I stand in this world, because usually, I had that over Michaela. I have the back porch. I cook out there. She just cooked the best quality meat and probably had the best dinner we've had in a long time. So that's where I'm at. Let's talk about the Mac.
Well, I mean, honestly, does she need to come on these trips with us and leave you at home with the dog, or what?
Yeah, I know she's probably a lot better knowing football too, and interacting with fans and just being more cordial. I'm pretty much a second class to her. So.
Yeah, well, that's all right, man. I'm sorry that happened to you. That is tough.
Yeah,
we can console together as a team here. But anyway, moving on. Tyler Tipton, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Sprouse, and it's great to see you boys. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in and hearing us listen to us talk about the MACtion tonight. And I got my lucky quarter here that I used on probably 50% of my MAC head-to-head games because it's such a toss-up. I really have no idea. But all seriousness, it's going to be another crazy season in the MAC, and I'm ready to talk about it tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be it is a wide open conference, I think, for the most part. Murph, look like you got some new jewelry on there. What do you got going on there, sir?
I had it tucked in. I got the couple gold chains here, just hanging out. But no, I got the gold chain, a.k.a. Michael Crabtree from a few years back. I got my Raiders gear on because, boys, let me tell you, preseason first football went down the other night on Thursday, and let me tell you, you can book it now. I think they're still plus 5,000. The Las Vegas Raiders to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, you can go ahead and lock it up. I mean, you really don't have to play any other games. I'm drafting Devontae Adams and Derek Carr this year in fantasy football. They're going to lead me to the promised land for my second championship in our league. So things are looking up. We got MACtion tonight. So many good players, and I'm with you, Tip. I don't know who's going to come out on top in this thing. These teams just beat each other up. You get to the end of the season where it's cold weather, so it nullifies the passing game a little bit, and you got to be able to pound it and play defense. So it's going to be interesting, but here to go, baby.
Well, Zeke, I'm sure you're fired up about your Dallas Cowboys, but they didn't play. They didn't play yet. Murph's fired up that half the guys that aren't even going to be on the team come regular season won 28-0 over the worst NFL franchise
Okay, let me tell you,
in the
Josh
history of America.
Jacobs, who's the starter, was in for at least the first 5-6 minutes. I mean, that's all I needed to see right there.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Zeke, how are you tonight?
I am fired up. I am excited for college football, MACtion, and now that you got me talking about the damn Dallas Cowboys, I'm fired up for the season, but most importantly, the fantasy football season, and we need to pick a date to draft. But the Cowboys, I'll just touch on them real quick. I'll tell you who the next Dallas Cowboys coach is going to be, and it is going to be Sean Payton.
No.
He lives in Dallas. His kids go to school in Dallas. McCarthy's out after this year, after they don't meet the fantasy expectations of winning a Super Bowl for Jerry. And then Sean Payton's going to be right in there. He's probably going to get rid of Dak Prescott because he's not worth $40 million, and he's going to win with somebody else. Probably Bailey Zappi after they trade for
him. Sean Payton's supposed to be the Dolphins coach because we were tampering. So the Dolphins were tampering with him.
Brady was supposed to be your quarterback.
And owner. And part owner of the team. I mean,
isn't that the most Miami?
It is. And Bill Belichick, when he accidentally, air quotes, sent Brian Flores the text congratulating the wrong Brian for becoming that's what opened up this whole investigation. So
I think
Bill
he did it on
Belichick
purpose.
is playing chess. 100% he did it on purpose. He's playing chess. He's like, you know what? If I can't have Brady, I'm still going to find a way to screw the Dolphins over like I've been doing for 25 years. So frustrating.
Oh, man, that's great.
I've heard Bailey Zappi's the best quarterback at Patriots minicamp.
I don't
He's
doubt
been
it.
looking good. We all
Training
called
camp.
that, didn't we? But before we get into the show, you guys make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and any other podcast platforms. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Group of Five Guys, and call the hotline 615-900-4286 if you want to get your voicemail played on the air. Guys, you know I had 48 people in my backyard this weekend, and 20 of them were under the age of 3.
Nobody does a big like the Sprouse household. Let me tell you, this guy had a private Kona ice truck pull up front and just had Kona ice on tap. It was incredible. I saw the pictures.
I did. I as we talked about a little bit last week, I mean, the economy is doing really well. So as you all know, I'm very financially stable. So we splurged a little bit. No, honestly, it's way cheaper than I thought. We'll talk off the air. But we had the Italian icy truck pull up. Got all the kids some icy and their parents some icy. Had the liquor cabinet open for some of the parents. They wanted to mix it in the icy there. Couple water slides in the backyard. It's my kid's second birthday, man. So now I have the expectation of topping that for the next 14, 15 years. So good luck to me. But
did you have the wolves cage?
I did. They were upstairs in the crate in the closet with the door shut. But honestly, you know, Zeke, the dogs know what people are the problem. Murph and Tip came over. There was no problems.
Love this.
Jesse, they love Jesse and Michaela. You came over and they wanted a bite of that hamstring.
They got a bite of it. Drew blood.
You must have had some like snacks or something left in your pocket from like the night before.
He won't sit still. Y'all know him. He keeps moving around, and they don't like sudden movements.
Yeah, I had him startled. I can't sit still.
Well,
I was up and down, and they were like, "Big seat, brother."
But on a more serious note, so did y'all see the preseason coaches poll come out today? 2 group of 5
terrible.
schools on the whole thing, Cincinnati and Houston. Cincinnati at 22, Houston at 25. I mean, name me a time that you'll see a school in the college football playoff drop 20 spots in the preseason next year. It'll never happen. No matter, I know they lose Ritter. I know they lose a bunch of guys on defense. You would never see that happen with any Power 5 school in the country. But it's the world we live in, and that's going to affect it. Now that's the ladder they got to climb now. So Houston.
So what are they ranked right now?
Cincy's at 22, Houston's at 25. That's the only 2 in the top 25. Couple of them were getting votes, but
can I just ask an honest question here?
Yeah.
Why in God's name is Notre Dame at number 5?
That's the exact point, right?
Because they lost Brian Kelly.
Because if you remember last year, even
you're talking about Foghorn Leghorn. I'll say.
You get a new head coach and you still put him at 5. That's weird.
I mean, it's incredible.
Dude, they got Texas ranked like 19, I think.
And then what? Michigan got blown out by Georgia, right, in the playoff,
and they're still right there.
And they're at number 6.
Yep.
But
I know.
It's. I mean, I wouldn't argue that Cincinnati should be, in the top 10, but I also understand your point because I think we've had the conversation about Cincinnati this year earlier on the podcast.
It's just the preseason rankings of it because preseason rankings they don't even.
They're useless.
This what I'm trying to say. Preseason rankings, they are useless, and you usually Cincinnati wins the national championship last year by some chance. You would think they'd be like a top 1, 2, or 3 team, but they would probably still be ranked 19 or 20 even if they'd won the national championship, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is even though the committee doesn't start till week 8 or whatever it is or week 6, they're using these rankings as a benchmark and for the wins that these teams are going to have. So now,
absolutely,
no, like I'm
this
not going to.
This is what we always talk about. It's
Yeah.
You get these rankings here, and you have these teams play other teams in the beginning of the season. They look back at that at the end of the season and say, well, they had great quality wins against ranked team X, Y, and Z at the beginning of the year.
I'll give you a perfect example, and it's not that, and not that they will need any additional wins to be a top 3 or 4 team, but Alabama's going to beat Texas, probably handily. And it's going to be like, oh, my God, they beat a top 15 team. When probably by the end of the year, Texas will be 500 team. They won't be in the and again, I'm not saying like Alabama doesn't need that win. But let's say when Oklahoma beats Texas or something, they're going to give them these top 20, top 15 wins. And then they're not going to give credit because God forbid Cincinnati loses a game. They'll be out of the top 25. When Houston beats them in the championship game, so they won't have the top 25 win. That's where the problem is. They need to abolish preseason rankings altogether, honestly.
What I'm confused about, too, is with the volatility of the transfer portal this offseason, like, how can you possibly even rank all these teams?
That's
like, you literally have no idea. There's so many new
based
faces and new places.
On the brand name and the preseason hype that they're getting. I mean, that's why every year you see the same ones: Texas, USC, Miami, Tennessee.
Well,
every year.
At this point, they get rid of the preseason rankings and think about the hell that is raised by the boosters of Alabama and Georgia and all of these in Texas. They're essentially buying this ranking, or they feel like that their money and movement is doing some work for the preseason. But I agree, they should get rid of it, and then when you're 4 or 5 games in, then throw a rank on them.
Yeah, based on what you see on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Well, going back to your hypocrisy on how they treat the Power 5, the Group of 5. Just thought of this when y'all were talking. You look at NIU, who we're going to speak about tonight. All the returning starters they have coming back, type of season they had, and then if we can even switch over to the Sun Belt, like Coastal Carolina, guys they have coming back. You would think they would be in the top 25, but they're not. But if you have a Power 5 school who has returning starters and has a season like they had, promise you they're in the top 25.
No, yeah. I mean, it's
and the key players they have coming back.
Yeah, key.
Well, the quarterbacks. I mean, like number one. But anyway, that's the fight we're fighting, guys. So
that's why we
help
are
us
here.
Fight it. That's right. But Let's get to the MAC. Last year, you had NIU, like Jesse just mentioned. They had an awesome, awesome season. They got a ton coming back. They went 9-5 overall, 6-2 in the conference. And they beat Kent State, my boy Dustin Crum, in the championship game. You look at, dude, the MAC West last year, unbelievable. So all 6 teams not separated by more than 2 games. So NIU wins the West at 9-5 overall, 6-2 in the conference. Western Michigan dead last in the West, 8-5 overall, 4-4 in the conference. I mean, that's like, if you're Western Michigan, I mean, they're 80% of the teams in the country would take an 8-win season, an 8-5 season, but that gets them dead last in this conference. This conference is so balanced, so much parity. We talked about it. I mean, you remember we did this show last year, and we were like, why has Vegas got every single team at 6.5 wins? And now I'm looking at it like, well, I mean, I get it, because I don't know where you get these wins. And then in the East, Kent State and Miami pretty much ran away with it. Kent State at 6-2 in the conference, Miami at 5-3 in the conference. The East struggled. Ohio, Bowling Green, Buffalo, and Akron, 2, 3, and 4 wins apiece. So
Akron is just dog shit. Like, they need to do something. Like, they've got to get better. They can't win games. They cannot win games. I think they've won a game or won more than 2 games in like 3 seasons.
You know, there's something interesting. Ohio has a ton of D1 FBS schools, and I bet, and Akron is clearly, bottom of the totem pole. So I bet for recruiting in a state like that, I bet they just get crushed.
Horrible.
I mean, I bet I don't even know what the top schools are in the state of Ohio, but
that team alone brings the MAC down. Like that, when you think of MAC, I'm not saying you just think of Akron, but
yeah, I might just imagine if you're like a top high school program in Cincinnati or in Columbus, Ohio, or in Akron, and you got Ohio State coming in there, you got all the Big Ten schools coming in there, then you got Toledo coming in there, you got Miami of Ohio, and then Akron. I mean, they probably just don't even get the time of day with the top.
I shouldn't have said they're dog crap, because you know what? We don't know this. They may turn around this season, because I'm sure they work hard. But my God, it's hard to watch. It's as a fan for Akron, I can only imagine what it's like flipping on the TV every Saturday.
They got some. They had a new coach. Last year? I think they upgraded. They got a new logo, rebrand this year. So Akron,
might be their year.
Might be. But let's get into some players we're going to look at this year. I'm going to start with you, Jess. What's a player you're watching, breakout season or X Factor for the year?
Breakout season, X Factor. We will be talking about this kid all season long, because he's going to be putting W's on the schedule for Eastern Michigan. Look out for Taylor Powell. Ben Bryant done. Picked up his stick and pillowcase. He went back to Cincinnati with his tail tucked between his legs, like, I'm going to go try to win me a playoff game. And then here comes Taylor Powell. Guy's a winner. Guy played at Troy last year. He started 5 games. He threw for almost 1,300 yards. He got hurt against South Carolina. Before that, he was at Missouri. Yes, Jeff, did the guy transfer to 2 different schools? Yes, but did he go back to Missouri? No. He is trying to play and win. I like Taylor Powell. He's going to have, according to a bunch of research I've done, Eastern Michigan is loaded on the outside. They're going to have the best receivers in the conference. They got 5 experienced offensive linemen coming back. I really think this guy is going to have a shining year. Taylor Powell, in the words of Matthew Sprouse and Mac, #Powell for Heisman. He is going to have a stellar year.
But he couldn't make it at Missouri or Troy.
He was young.
So what? Oh, so
couldn't make it. He lost his leg. They had to put it back on. And then
so he's an amputee?
Something like that. I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, that'd be impressive.
Yeah,
it would be.
He's got 3 legs.
Huh. Interesting.
I wonder what and I'm not knocking this kid. I don't know this kid's situation at all. I wonder what the percentage of kids that transfer once, transfer again is. That'd be an interesting stat. Kind of like they say like divorcees typically get divorced again.
I should say this too. yeah, my number one motivation for this guy to have an awesome year is because Ben Bryant left. So I want Eastern Michigan to have a better year.
What
than
is your
Cincinnati.
gripe against this Ben Bryant guy?
Wait, we can go 3 weeks in a row here and talking about it. We can
Well,
make
hold on
chapter
now.
1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
If we could find hold on now. If we could find out which of the two entered the transfer portal first, that might say a lot about either one of these guys.
You
Because
think
if
that Ben
Taylor
Bryant was
Powell,
worried?
probably.
Probably should be.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time he lost his job. Anyway, Taylor Powell, Eastern Michigan quarterback. Look out for him, according to Jesse Grisham. Well, Murph, you got going there. Who you looking out for this year?
Man, I got this kid for Toledo, Daquan Finn, quarterback. This kid is special, man. He is a big body. He can run. He's athletic. He can throw it. Listen to these numbers. He had over 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns. On the ground, he had over 500 yards rushing and another 9 touchdowns. This guy's an offensive machine. So he's going to be the sole reason why Toledo either has a great season or poor season, which I think he's just going to have a phenomenal season, a better one than he had last year. I think he's going to be in the running for the MAC Player of the Year. That's my opinion on it. So look out for Daquan Finn, man, and the Toledo Rockets.
No, I agree with you. And you mentioned earlier about when the weather gets bad up there. That's the kind of guy that can run like that. If you remember, they had Notre Dame on the ropes last year.
He had a great game against Notre Dame last year.
Yeah,
and they are at Ohio State week 3 this year. So that dude and Toledo is loaded.
They got
loaded.
Yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit later, but when you got a guy that can make off-schedule plays, that can extend plays, especially like you're talking in the later, weeks of the season where it is cold. I mean, you're talking having DBs cover for an extra 2-3 seconds because this guy's extending plays. It just makes it extremely tough.
Yeah, any defensive guy or defensive coordinator will tell you those are the hardest guys. You could have an NFL first-round draft pick, but if he's a pro-style quarterback, you can at least scheme for him. But guys like Finn that are just such dual-threat guys, like you said, extending plays, that's –
How big is he? Do you anybody have those stats, Jeff? Do you have it? What's his size?
Give me a second.
Not put the spotlight on you. I should know if he's like a 6'2" guy or like...
No, I think he's a little bigger. Let me look it up. Hold on. Yeah, I'll just go to the next one and I'll have it by the time we go.
Bring
to the
it
next one.
later. Just curious.
Yeah, Zeke, what player are you watching for this year?
I've got for your Buffalo Bulls, James Patterson, linebacker, all MAC linebacker, team captain, a little bit of an undersized for your middle linebacker. He's only 6 foot, but he's 232. He's been a starter since he's been a freshman, since 2018. 283 career total tackles. 114 of those were last year. So the guy's a stud. The defense, the defense loves him. They swarm around him. And the comparable player that I think that he reminds me a lot of is London Fletcher. London Fletcher was like a 5'11", 240 guy. So
bowling
this
ball.
This guy reminds me a lot of this guy. He's your all-MAC linebacker. I think anybody in the MAC would want to have him on their team. So.
He's I'm fairly certain anyway, the younger brother of former running back Jarrett Patterson at Buffalo, who I want to say he was in Washington at camp. I don't know where he's at in the league right now. But I remember he had that coming out party. He had like 8 touchdowns in a game 2 years ago. And then his little brother's a star on defense. He wears, I know at Buffalo, and I don't know what the significance of it is yet. They wear number 41 is like their, captain number. Somebody gets to wear it every week, and I know that Patterson wears it often. So he's definitely a guy that's liked in the locker room and liked by the coaches. Buffalo, man, they were really good 2 years ago, and they've just fallen off ever since the coach went on to take the Kansas job. But Murph, did you find Daquan Finn there?
I did. So he's 6'2", 210. So he's a good solid size for QB.
It's about your size right now, Jeff, isn't it?
Well, he's got about 2 inches on
out.
me, but let me tell you, I mean, I'm not in the best shape of my life, guys, and I've been swinging the bats on the golf course. I easily added like 20 yards easy to my drive. I mean, it's incredible.
What are you on?
Creighton?
Ain't no beer free, I promise you that.
We'll take that. We'll take that off air. Tip, who you got? Who you looking out for?
So I'm looking out for the person who I think is going to be the MAC Player of the Year for your 2022 season. It is the running back for Central Michigan, Lou Nichols III.
Yeah.
This guy had almost 2,200 total yards last year. He had 1,848 rushing yards, 16 rushing touchdowns, 338 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. I think he gets over 2,200 yards for this season. Gets over 20 touchdowns. With all the experience he's had, it's gonna be so difficult to stop him. So that's who I'm looking out for. I think he's gonna have an even more of a breakout season than he did last season. And like I mentioned, I think he's gonna be the MAC Player of the Year for this season.
Well, he's gonna have. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but he's gonna have his kind of second guy healthy this year who was hurt last year, so it's going to be a little bit of a duo, so it should be able to spell him a little bit.
Can I pose a question, though, to the group?
Go.
No, it's not.
Like
it's an honest
question.
No, it's really an honest question.
Go for it.
They lose their 2 starting tackles last year. Both were all MAC guys. How much of a role do you think that'll play in his success?
I think it plays a huge role. However,
I agree.
Don't we have Buddy? I apologies for not remember his name. We had him on the podcast. Didn't he go to Central Michigan? He's coming from Sam Houston.
Yeah, but that's Lou Nichols plays at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
He was at West.
Was he not going to Central Michigan?
Elieza's going to Western Michigan.
Oh God, so many Michigans. Apologize. Yeah, that's definitely going to impact you though. I think usually your best offensive linemen are your tackles. So
yeah,
man,
they can seal that edge. I think it makes a big difference. I still think he's going to have a great year though.
Yeah. Plus, I think everybody's going to be keying on him. I mean, he's only a sophomore, right? So, last year he kind of burst on the scene, so didn't have a ton to game plan for him, and now it's going to be like, that guy's getting carries. But yeah, either way, I mean, I think he's a stud. So I don't know. They're going to have to ride that train.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, Sprouse.
Well,
yeah.
The only way he's going to have a really good year, in my opinion, Tip, because I think he is probably one of the better running backs in the MAC. Their defense is going to get a lot better because if they get behind, they ain't going to be running the ball that much. So if their defense is, which they almost like last place last year, it's going to be hard to just run the ball when you're behind. So they're going to play a huge factor in his success. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, Lou Nichols is. I mean, he's probably the only guy in the MAC that's getting some national attention too. So
got the name.
Definitely
got the name. Lou Nichols. I see that. I see Nichols on my fantasy team right now. Just Nichols.
I'm going to give you a guy I'm looking out for. I know we were talking trash about Akron earlier, but Akron linebacker Bubba Arslanian only played 4 games last year before he got hurt, 43 tackles. So this guy's like a 10, 11 tackle a game guy, leader of the team. Honestly surprised this guy hasn't transferred because I know he could. He's been leading the team in tackles since he's been at Akron. But poor guy's just going to
love it, Sprouse. You are a definition group of 5 guy. Look at the worst team in the conference, standout player.
He's a star. He's a player. He's a star. And he's busted his butt for you. but
I'm sure he stands out.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm this guy's gonna have 150 tackles probably this year. So he's feel sorry. I do feel bad for guys like that. He is, and with Akron, hopefully they can get a couple more dubs this year for that guy. Hopefully he gets a shot in the league. But on to the win totals. Brought to you by DraftKings. Not brought to you by DraftKings, but these are where the win totals came from. These are in alphabetical order, in case anybody is confused on the order we're going in here. So start with Akron. 2.5 ball games. I'll go to you, Jess. Over, under, 2.5.
I want to make this known before we start getting into these pick totals. The MAC, which you've already said, is probably the most difficult conference when it comes to picking wins and losses because of the highly viewed Tuesday MACtion. You don't ever know who's going to win. Tipton's got his 2 or 3 quarters. He's just flipping. Since 2015, 11 different teams in the MAC have played in the conference title. I mean, that says enough itself, and then only one time since 2011 and 2012 has a team repeated going back to the conference championship. So we are going to give our predictions here, but more than likely we're going to be all way wrong. Akron. I'm going to say.
Let me before you give your pick, let me just add on to your point there. So the MAC, there are only two teams, Akron and Bowling Green, okay, at 2.5 and 3.5 wins. Every other team in the MAC is either 5, 6, or 7.5.
Yeah.
Every other one. So everybody in this conference is, 5 and 7, 7 and 5, 6 and 6. That's what Vegas has these guys going, and
then they go the bowl season and beat your ass.
Yeah. So anyway, back to you, Grish. Akron 2.5.
I'm going to go the under on that. I just their schedule's hard. They don't know how to win, so I'm going to say they're under.
Murph.
Actually going to go over. I think they're at 3 wins. I think that new head coach coming in, I think he's bringing a little bit of energy. And their quarterback, DJ Irons, last year, not a bad player. He got hurt about halfway through. So I'm excited to watch him. I'm see what he's got, see what he's going to bring to the table with a full season, hopefully. And I mean, they are a long way off, but I'm going to go 3 wins. Take the over.
Tip.
I'm going to take the under. I have them winning 2 games this season. Love the new head coach, Joe Moorhead, that they hired. Got a lot of transfers coming in, but I think they're at least 2 or 3 seasons away. So I have the under.
Zeke?
Yeah, I'm going to go under. St. Francis won, and then with the new head coach, he's going to get them fired up. They're going to win a game that they shouldn't win. So that's 2. But
Neyland Stadium.
I don't see
Week 3.
Shit,
Wouldn't that be great?
I'm pulling for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm so sorry, Zeke. Speaking of Neyland Stadium, all these Tennessee and these SEC fans talk about the strength of schedule, this and that. Tennessee plays 2 or 3 schools from this conference right here this year. So don't give
Ball
me
State.
Akron doesn't have a tough schedule if Tennessee doesn't have a tough schedule, damn it. I mean, my God. Anyway, sorry, Zeke.
No, I think I've said what I need to say. Under.
So under.
Under.
Well,
here's the deal. Out.
Here's the deal. I like the quarterback, DJ Irons. Dude's huge. Dude. 6'6", 215, the quarterback. I love him. I love Bubba Arslanian, the linebacker. Captain of the offense, captain of the defense, great players. Akron winning 2 games. They still do not get over the hump. I think I'm with you, Tip. They're a couple years out, but it'd be interesting with the transfer portal with Akron because I imagine there's some really good high school ball. I mean, I don't know this off of any stat, but I imagine Akron has some good high school ball. So you might get some guys that go elsewhere, maybe don't get the PT they're looking for, or maybe they miss home, and they may come back. So kind of what we're seeing with FIU a little bit in Miami, but it might happen with Akron. Ball State, they're one of the teams that played for the championship a couple years ago. They are at 5.5. Jesse Grisham.
Leadership on that team is going to be struggling a little bit.
I said that last year.
They had a kind of a down season last year compared to where they were the year before. I see that trend still setting. I don't like their schedule. I like other teams in this conference better than Ball State. So I see some probably 1-score games are going to go the other team's way. So I'm going to give them the under. I got them at 4 wins.
Murph?
Yeah, I got him under as well. I got him right at 4 wins. Drew Plitt's gone. He's been kind of the staple there, the last few years, and they're going to miss him a lot. And I just think they're young. I think they're kind of in that rebuilding zone right now, and 4 wins is what I got them at.
Tip.
I have the under as well. I have them winning 5 games this year. They got to play the top dogs in the MAC this year. I mean, they have Northern Illinois at home. But then at the end of the season, 3 of the 4 games at Kent State, at Toledo, and at Miami of Ohio. I mean, it's a tough MAC schedule for them this year. So I have the under for them, 5 wins.
Zeke?
Yeah, I'm with you, Tip. They've got a tough MAC schedule. They roll into Neyland. They could win that one. But yeah, I think I just think it's too much of an uphill battle for them. So
If there's one SC team that's going to slip up this year and lose, it's going to be.
Oh, would that
That's
not?
There was nothing that would make
No,
me
it'll be
happier.
Vandy.
Would you? Let me.
Oh
ask you
no,
this.
no.
Now,
Well, Vandy goes
is
to
losing
NIU.
to NIU. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is happening. That
I'm
ain't
talking
like a
about
what
at
if.
Neyland Stadium. I can see it just.
I think they're going to lose to Hawaii too. Vanderbilt.
So, do you know that there is a pretty large wager out there on Vanderbilt?
To
for
do
them to
what?
win or lose.
2 games. They're gonna win 2 games. We'll say this as the group of 5 guys, if you as an SEC fan cannot speak confidently, if you're out here saying that my conference is the best conference in the world, and you have going in, your team is predicted to win 2 games. They play Hawaii. At Hawaii,
Yeah.
they're probably going to win.
Hawaii will
probably
win
gonna
that
lose.
game.
And we're talking about the MAC. I would like to look at that bet though, because there's some money out there on Vanderbilt that they don't quite get there.
Let me pose this question: would y'all rather see the Tennessee Volunteers lose at home to Akron, or a Group of 5 team make the playoff this year?
I would love to see Akron go into
I
Neyland
would
and
too,
beat Tennessee.
dude. I would too. That's all
There would be
personal, guys.
total anarchy in Knoxville, Tennessee. if that happened.
Oh my! Heupel would not.
They lost their minds when Georgia State came in there. and
all of
beat
our
them.
friends listening to us in Tennessee are just turning us off right now.
Yeah.
I hope they are. We don't want y'all anyway.
Yeah.
I got the under on Ball State as well. Losing Plitt. They do return everything else on offense just about, but losing a 5th-year quarterback, that's going to be tough. And, hey, one more thing on Akron. I'm going to tell you this. This may not be the year. They're starting 5 sophomores on the O-line. So next year, if those 5 are pretty good, I mean, they got a chance now if you get 5 juniors on the O-line. We'll go to Bowling Green. They're at 3.5. Jesse Grisham.
Man, I did a horrible job of labeling my order compared to your outlines. I apologize. I like Bowling Green this year, by God.
Must have been numerical.
And yeah, I didn't do alphabetical. I love Bowling Green. I think Bowling Green is going to have a hell of a year compared to where they were last year. They got 17 returning starters. QB Mac McDonald needs to turn his shit up. Let's have a good fall camp. Start taking notes. Keep your head up. Make sure that you're not being lackadaisical. He's got weapons. He's going to have some weapons with Terrence Stewart and Christian Sims and Tyrone Broden. So, looking at their schedule, I got them beat Mississippi State in Starkville. I think that's going to be a big win. Mississippi State's a joke. Okay, I'm sorry. They're all about just like post conference, humor with old Leach. Like Leach, I'd like to have a beer with him, maybe 6. But I don't respect him on the football field. Mississippi State, Starkville, Cowbells, you're going to get rocked on Bowling Green. I just feel it because I got a lot of experience coming back. I got Bowling Green going 7-4 is what I have them going. Big time changes in Bowling Green this year. Jeff, to you.
Well, I don't
It's
got
like crickets I've ever heard in my life.
I do not have them winning 7 games, but I do have them winning 4. So I'm going to take the over. I do think they're a lot better. They got a lot of guys coming back on defense. That quarterback's a 6th-year senior. So I think they're going to be good. I just think their schedule's tough. I do think if Mississippi State was at home, they'd have a better shot. They go at UCLA. And the MAC's just so tough. It just really is. And I don't think they're quite there, but I think they win about 4 or 5. I can see them winning 5 games, but I think it's more closer to 4.
I'm looking at the schedule that I outlined here, and I agree with you. But and I have them losing to UCLA, have them losing to Marshall. I don't know. I guess I got them sneaking up on some MAC teams. I got them winning.
That's what I'm saying. You got them at 7. I mean, are they beating?
I got them beating Marshall.
Miami.
Oh no, sorry, I don't have them beating Marshall.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, I have them beating Eastern Kentucky. I have them beating State, Akron, losing to Buffalo, losing to Miami, Ohio, then winning out. Did I do it? Wait, 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
4,
Tip,
5,
what do you got?
Yeah. Okay, Sprouse.
I mean, you got them winning out with that schedule at the end of the year?
Talking to me now?
Yeah.
No, I have them losing to Toledo, but I got them beating Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Kent State, and beating Ohio. losing to Toledo. I don't know. I just had there's something about Bowling Green this
He
year.
feels it.
I feel it. I
Feels it in his plums.
Yeah.
I like it, Murph. You said you got the over 2 though, right?
Yeah, but I just got him at like 4. I think maybe 5, but I think 4 wins realistically.
Tip, what do you got?
I have the over as well, and I'm right there with Murph. I have him at 4 wins. I have him at 4 and 8, but I don't feel confident in that. I feel like they might win more games, 5 or 6 games.
Wow.
They were 4 and 8 last year. They lost 1-score games to Kent State and Northern Illinois. And when you got 17 returning starters, I mean, yeah, they have a tough non-conference schedule, and they even have a tough MAC schedule, but we all know how the MAC is. And, I mean, looking at this, I have them losing 5 straight MAC games, and, like, I don't know if I don't feel confident in that. I feel like they could win 5 or 6 games this year. This could be that sneaky team that, you know, some other MAC teams might be overlooking, and they could make a run.
It's the sexiest damn take you ever had, Tyler Tippin. Love
it. Zeke, what do you think?
Yeah, so I've got the under, and I mean, to Tip and Murph's point, I mean, this is a really hard one to pick because, you know, you never know how the cookie's going to crumble. But, I mean, I just don't – I have faith in some of the other MAC teams that they're going to get the job done against them. And, you know, Eastern Kentucky call that 1. You know, Akron call that 2. And then, you know, they may get an upset somewhere, but, you know, UCLA, Marshall, Grant Wells, we'll get to him. Tip. But, you know, everybody else I think is pretty tough in the MAC. So I got the under.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one, just like I went back and forth on every other one. I'm going to take the over. I like Tip's point about they lost a lot of really close games last year. I think they get Eastern Kentucky. I think they get Akron, and I think they get Buffalo. And then they get probably Ohio at the end of the year for the 4th win. But I don't know. I'm not seeing a whole lot more than that, but maybe they could be that sneaky team, but I'll still take the over. Buffalo is at 5.5. Start with you, Jess.
Buffalo at 5.5. I'm going to give them the etiquette. Buffalo. I'm going to
just to let you know. I want to tell you why I have my volume up is because I have this device in my body. When my sugar gets low, I got to drink this Coke. So,
brought to you by
diabetes.
Coca-Cola.
Buffalo
Carry
Soldier.
on.
Buffalo Soldier. I'm gonna give them 5 wins. Just make it short and sweet. 5 wins.
All right, Murph.
Yeah, that's actually what I got them at too. I got them under 5 wins. They got to get better up front. I think that was one of their biggest problems last year. Predominantly known for being able to pound the ball, and they weren't able to really do that as much last year. And I think they're at 5 wins.
Tip.
Yeah, I have the under as well. They lost a lot of players to the transfer portal when their former head coach went to Kansas. Only returning 9 overall starters on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be a down year for him this year. So I have the under.
Zeke, what do you think? Buffalo 5.5.
You know, I think my man James Patterson is going to get these people fired up. These guys are going to rally around James Patterson, and he's going to lead them. He's going to get them over 6 wins. He's got to go to a bowl game. He's a senior this year. Heart and soul of the team. James Patterson, I'm rolling with you. I got the over.
I'm going under on Buffalo. They lose just about all their offensive production, to include the quarterback, Van Treese, transferred to Georgia Southern. I'm just not seeing it. They're one of the least experienced teams in the conference. So I'm just
too
not
damn
seeing
cold.
Yeah,
Boys are
yeah.
transferring out of there. They're freezing.
Yeah, if you're a quarterback, you might want to get out of there. I'm interested to see where everybody's got Central Michigan. Vegas got them at 7.5, which is tied for the most wins in the conference. So 7.5 Central Michigan. Jesse Grisham, what do you got?
Got them under because of a good point that Jeff Murphy made earlier. I think their O-line, I know it's 2 tackles, and people think of those guys as more as pass protection, but Central Michigan is a running football team. So, you know, they said you got to be able to secure the ends and make sure the running back, which they have a phenomenal running back. I'm not saying that. But based off of what the O-line can do and that really, really poor defense they had last year, if they do not show up, I got them on the under at like 6 wins.
Murph?
Yeah, I got them under right at 7 wins. I still think they're a really, really good team. Best running back in the conference by far. I just think they lost 5 key guys to the transfer portal on defense, which really, really hurts them. So, you know, you get behind by a couple scores, kind of nullifies the ground game. The quarterback is coming back. He's a pretty good ball player, but, you know, I got him at 7 wins. That's still a good season, especially in the MAC.
Tip, what do you got?
I have the over. I have them at 8 wins. We've talked about the MAC. It gets later in the season. It gets cold, and nobody wants to tackle Lou Nichols. So give me the over. 8 wins.
That's what I'm talking about.
You
Zeke,
gonna
what do you
tackle
got?
them though if they ain't blocking for them. Okay.
Yeah, I've got them at 8 wins. I'm pretty high on Lou Nichols as well. They were pretty good last year, so I think they're a pretty good team, and they're going to be tough and could be one of the contenders to compete for the conference championship.
Central Michigan, they won 5 straight last year, 4 of them by 2 touchdowns or more. They also lose their 5 leading tacklers from last year, which is a little bit scary. But Jim McElwain's a hell of a coach, man. There's a reason that guy keeps getting, you know, pulled in every direction. That's a big name that flies under the radar in the MAC. So I think he's going to rally the troops. I got the over. I got him at 8 wins. I think Central Michigan's going to be pretty damn good, and I like that point Tip made about end of the season. It's cold. Lou Nichols is just going to be pounding the rock. He ain't going to be. I mean, up or down, he ain't going to be able to throw the ball if it's Tuesday night and the wind is, you know, going 40 miles an hour and it's 20 degrees. So I'll take the over on that. Another team I feel like a lot of people are high on is Eastern Michigan. They're at 6.5 according to Vegas, which is I mean, they won 7 ball games last year, which I forget about. Yeah, they were pretty good. Jess, I'll start with you. You like Eastern Michigan.
Hey, buckle in, boys. I'm going to talk for a little bit. Eastern Michigan. Love this team. Love them in the MAC. This year, they are always under the radar. They're under the radar every year, Sprouse. Coach Chris Creighton, he is the Rick Stockstill of the MAC conference. He's gone to a bowl games 4 out of the past 6 years. They had a quarterback. They had a quarterback last year, tried to lead them to the promised land. His name was Ben Bryant. The guy's a coward, and he decided to go back to Cincinnati to try to win, try to go to the playoffs, to follow his former protege of Riddler, whatever.
The Riddler.
Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter, whatever. It's 2022. He was last year. So here's the deal. Taylor Powell, he attended the Manning Passing Academy. The guy was a stud at Troy last year. He was, he said 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns, got hurt against South Carolina. He got recruited out of Arkansas going to Missouri. The guy is a player. He has 5 offensive linemen coming back. They got the best receiving core in the MAC, according to several sources. Not going to give them away right here or there. But I like their schedule. They have a that is winnable, starting out with Eastern Kentucky to win. Hey, I love my Louisiana Raging Cajuns, but you're going to lose to Eastern Michigan when they come to visit you. And then I have them winning mostly of their games. Boys, I got these guys going 10-2. I got them going. I have them. This is the team at the MAC this year. Eastern Michigan. Remember it. August 10th, 2022.
Wow. I like it. I mean, I like your confidence there.
August 10th?
That's when it airs.
That's right.
Murph?
Well, Jesse, let me just say, don't talk about stuff that you don't know. Taylor Powell did you say he was a ball player? This guy's a stud? this guy hasn't done anything really in the last 2 spots he's been. He's transferring from place to place. He obviously can't hack it. That's why I don't even like the transfer portal. I don't even like these guys bouncing from one place to the next. It makes no sense. So I got him at 5 wins. I don't know how you got him at 10. I mean, they're going to lose to Louisiana. They're going to lose to Arizona State. I mean, the rest of the MAC is tough. I don't see it. I think he's the reason why they have 5 wins. I don't think he's very good.
Taylor Powell?
Yes.
Whatever. I guarantee they get more wins than Cincinnati this year.
How much? Okay.
Wow.
All right. How much you want to bet on this?
Where did that come from?
Put your money where your mouth is.
Whoa.
Right now, on air.
Here's the deal. I'll say that Ben Bryant has more wins than Taylor Powell because he's not even have the job yet.
How many
That's
briskets
Cincinnati.
are you betting?
I honestly I stood up and I missed your whole point. It was rude of me, but I had to go get a beer. But
Yeah, you knocked over your microphone too. That was
that make a lot of noise.
it did.
A little bit.
Well, it's just not a quality show right now. I think that Taylor Powell has more wins than Ben Bryant, yes. But if Ben Bryant doesn't start, then if Taylor Powell wins 1 game at Eastern Michigan, that's more wins.
That's my point. We'll talk about it. Anyways,
Hey.
I got him at 5 wins, Eastern Michigan.
Tip Eastern Michigan 6.5.
I have the under. I have him winning 6 games. Yeah, just with Ben Bryant gone. I mean, he had a great season last year. Say what you want about him,
the
Grisham.
season. Sorry, Tip.
Say what? No, you're fine. Say what you want about him, Grisham. But we'll see how Taylor Powell comes in and does with probably the best wide receiver group in the MAC, like Jesse mentioned earlier. Defense is really the main concern. Allowed almost 30 points a game in MAC games last year. Struggled against the run. Allowed almost just under 200 rushing yards a game. Good against the pass, the 3rd in the MAC against the pass. Yeah, with Ben, I'm on Murph's side with this. I think Ben Bryant is a better quarterback than Taylor Powell. So I got him the under. I got him.
The guy's
6
a
wins.
terrible duck. I mean, you go here to a school that wins. They go to bowl games. You got Coach Chris Creighton. I see Rick Stockstill just saying, hey, come play with me. He over here gives you the world, gives you the weapons, makes you become a player that people are talking about, and you decide to leave to go to Cincinnati because you're like, you know what, they're the bigger, better school. Kid's a coward. At me, bro. He's a coward. So go to Cincinnati, get your about 7 or 8 wins, get mocked by UCF, and then be like, oh, I wonder how Eastern Michigan's doing. Oh, they're freaking got 8 or 9 wins right now. Damn. Mistake on my part.
Did somebody say steak?
Hey, Zeke, Eastern Michigan 6.5. What do you got?
Save your chest.
Yeah, I've got. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry. I got the under.
Don't apologize. That's the right pick.
Hey, you say fellas. I mean fella.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fella. I just don't see it. I don't see over 6.5. That would put him at 7 wins, and I'm not seeing 7 wins. I think the Cajuns are still fired up. They're rowdy as always, and I'm rolling with my boy James Patton. Arizona State gets them. They get UMass. They get Akron, and I see Eastern Kentucky on there, so I just don't see much more past 5 wins. So I think 7's a stretch.
Last year, Sprouse, I had a huge take that was horrid. I said, look out for my Tulsa. Look at my Tulsa. After so far going through, American, Conference USA, now MAC, Eastern Michigan is my number 1 dark horse right now. I feel it with this team. So let me know.
I got the under as well.
Sprouse, when you get done, come back to me. I do have a question.
I'm done. That's all I got on that. I got the under.
So what do we consider a dark horse in the MAC? I mean, granted, you've got your lower projections that are going to be higher, but at what point do you cut off your dark horse submissions? And Grisham, you just brought that up. Like, it's 6.5. If they're supposed to get 7 wins, so like Toledo, they're supposed to get 7.5. I mean, I guess that's not. That's kind of out of the dark horse
I think it would be
area,
someone
right?
that finished like in the
Yeah.
middle to bottom half of the conference last year and has a chance to play for the conference championship this year. I mean,
I
Eastern
agree.
Michigan was
Yep.
was 5th place in the West last year. I mean, yeah, they were 7 and 6th, but that's how I would look at it is like, yeah, but
Yeah.
they finished middle, bottom half of the conference last year.
And at least
And
play in the championship.
yeah,
Or at least in contention towards the end of the year is kind of how I would look at it. It's a little gray area on that. Kent State is at an even 5. No, they no longer have former preseason Heisman hopeful Dustin Crum at the helm. 5 games. Jesse Grisham, Kent State. What do you got?
I got them going 6-6. So I got 6 wins.
Murph?
No crumb, no worries is what I'm saying. This kid Colin Schlee, 6'3", 220, pretty good little athlete. I don't know. I think a lot depends on him, but I actually got him over 6, possibly 7 wins.
Tip?
I have the push. I have them going 5 and 7. Yeah, to Murph's point, I mean, you're bringing back both your top running backs, Dante Cephas, top wide receivers back this year. So I think they'll have a good season. I don't think they'll quite get over the 5 wins. They have the toughest
Brutal.
non-conference schedule at Washington, at Oklahoma,
brutal.
at Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Zeke, what do you got?
Yeah, I hate to echo, but I'm with Tip, and I would like to see him. I'm rooting for him at 6 because I do think that they have a lot of momentum coming off last year. Without Dustin Crum or not, but I think that schedule is just tough. So I'm gonna go with a push.
Yeah, I'm taking the push as well. I think even without Dustin Crum, I think the offense is still going to be really good. Marquez Cooper, the running back, is still coming back. Cephas, the receiver. I think they're still going to have a ton of numbers. Their defense is just pretty bad. It did get a new D coordinator, I believe. So
Jeremiah Johnson, hell of a name.
Yeah, that may help, but still got to get his guys that fit his scheme. So it might take a couple years on that one, but I'm going to take a push on 5 wins there. Miami of Ohio, 6.5. Jesse Grisham.
Miami, Ohio is going to be a good ball club. And there's no debating it. I don't think. Brett Gabbert. I'll let Jeff and the other QBs of the room start talking about his stats, but I think the guy is phenomenal. Might be the best quarterback in the conference. Going to have a good old line coming back. Defense have some big time players that left, but I think that they're going to be on point. What was the Vegas
6.5
win? Oh yeah, over. I got them with 8 wins.
Murph.
Yeah, I got him over 7, maybe 8 wins as well. I think Brett Gabbert is possible MAC Player of the Year candidate for sure. And then Sprouse, your boy, Mac Hippenhammer. I think it's going to be a good 1-2 combo right there on the QB receiver scale. So fun season to watch for these guys.
Tip, what do you got?
I have the over as well. I have them at 8 wins. And on the running back side of things, on the offense, they're returning 4 running backs that had over 50 rushing attempts last season. So they got a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball. So I got the over, and I got them winning the East Division.
Zeke?
Yeah, I've got the over. And I think this is a team where when the Vegas line comes out on the first game of the year, I think you take the over and the points. I don't think they've come out with a line yet, but at them against Kentucky, I think they're going to be slinging it. They're going to go out there and try to win that game, as they will a lot of them. But this is going to be a high-powered offense, and they're going to throw the ball. So, I like them. I like them to be in contention for the conference championship, and I like them to be a tough team against Kentucky, Cincinnati, anybody they play. They just got to play a little defense.
Yeah, their non-conference is kind of interesting. It's good, but it's not Kent State's. They're at Kentucky. That Cincinnati game, neutral site. I think it's at the Bengals Stadium.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cincinnati beat them pretty good last year, but
you're gonna have a better quarterback.
Loses Ritter, and now Gabbert's gonna be the better quarterback.
I think he's an NFL quarterback in my opinion, and the guy's a winner. I know Jeff talks about quarterbacks being winners. The guy led Miami, Ohio to
Tom
a
Brady,
MAC
good
championship in
example.
2019, and then last year he was the MVP of their bowl game against North Texas. He's a stud. So I'm excited for him. I'm surprised. Sprouse, you already said before in the past, is that your Brett Gabbert for Heisman? Is that your guy this year?
I like a lot of guys for Heisman this year. Gabbert for Heisman. I got Lombardi for Heisman. Hayner for Heisman is the one. Hayner for Heisman. That's got a nice little ring to it. The whole deal. But Gabbert, yeah, I like Gabbert. I like him over. I'm with you, Grish or Murph. That Gabbert to Hip and Hammer combo is going to be something special. Plus, I just want to say Mac Hip and Hammer every week. He's a Penn State transfer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I got the over on that. I'll let you know on my championship prediction later on. NIU, Northern Illinois, defending champs, 6.5. Talk about disrespect. Grisham, what do you think?
Yeah, that is very disrespectful because of just how much they have coming back, right? And Rocky Lombardi, transfer from Michigan State, had a stellar year last year, and I feel like he's just going to keep slinging it like he was last year. And their schedule is, I don't know how they plan it so well, coming off of a really, great season last year. I see these guys winning 9-10 ball games this year. Plus smacking that Vanderbilt ass at home. I really think that might be the most gimme game. That's probably supposed to be underdog game for NIU.
How much is Vandy paying to go get their ass whipped?
I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, so I got them in the over, the easy over. I mean, God bless. That might be the easiest bet there is right now. We've talked about have them in the over.
Dude, talk about a football name. I mean, if you birthed a child with the last name Lombardi and you gave his first name Rocky, I mean,
Rocky Balboa.
My God. He honestly should be like a fullback or a middle linebacker or something. He is a quarterback. But the dude's a ball player now. Yeah, I mean,
when I hear Rocky Lombardi quarterback, I think of denim jacket, shotgun and a beer, stealing your girl, and throwing 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Driving
smoking a cigarette after the game,
Brett Favre.
tossing it out.
Stereotypical like high school football movie, like drives a muscle car, the whole deal. Murph, NIU 6.5. What do you got?
Yeah, I got that in over too. At least 8 wins. I think possibly 9 or 10 easy. And I'm with you. Rocky Lombardi coming back. They lost Ducker. He goes to Memphis, right? I just have a feeling. I think the reason why Ducker is so successful is because you have Rocky Lombardi, who's a dual threat guy. He can run and he can throw it. I think that offensive line is possibly one of the best in the conference. So I think whoever they plug back in there is going to be a pretty damn good running back. So I don't think they're going to miss him as much. And I think they easily get 8, 9, 10 wins.
Tip?
I think the reason DraftKings in Vegas has their over-under at 6.5 is because last season they had 7 wins by 1 score, and some of those were 1-2 point victories. But I have the over. I have them winning 9 games. I think they probably arguably have the best offense in the MAC. Defense struggled a little bit, but they're returning 11 starters from last season. So that experience definitely helps there on that side of the ball. So I have the over. I got them at 9 wins.
Zeke?
It's a little tough one for me. I know you guys feel a little disrespect, but I don't think they get 9 or 10 wins, but I think they get to 7. I think they get to 7, and they're a good football team. They're going to beat some teams, but I think there's some other teams in there that may get after them a little bit. So yeah, I'll take the over, but it's not by much.
I'm going over on this. I think this is a double-digit win team. I think this is a 10-win. I think this is a 10-win NIU team. They bring everything back. And then I was fortunate enough to spend some time in the building and met the head coach, Coach Hammock. The same thing we've been talking about with these teams. Just the energy in the building. You could tell the head coach, they're confident. And their schedule. think they beat Vandy. I think they can go win at Kentucky. I think they. I mean, I'm looking at this here. I think they win at Tulsa, and then mark it down. October 8th, they get Toledo at home. That's your MAC West championship game right there. I'm going over, and I'm going over by a lot. I think on NIU. Let's go to the Bobcats of Ohio. They're at 5.5. Jesse Grisham, what do you got?
5.5. I got them under probably about 4 or 5 wins.
Murph?
Yeah, I got them under as well. I still think they got a ways to go. So I'm going to go under as well. I think I have 4 wins.
Tip?
I have the under as well. I'm right there with Murph. I got them winning 4 games. Offense just struggled to put up points last season. 22.6 points per game last year. Defense was giving up almost 28 points a game. So I still think they're going to score enough points this year. When they went 3-9 last year, and I think they improved by 1 win for this season.
Zeke?
Who was the quarterback last year they had that was supposed to be pretty good, but then kind of flopped? And maybe I'm way off here, but anyways, I've got the under. I think I had high expectations for him last year, and once that happened, I kind of lost all faith. So I know it's a different year, but yeah, I've got the under.
They only won 3 games last year. I got the under as well. I mean, the offense was pretty bad last year, and very little of the production returns this year. So they're going to be inexperienced. They weren't very good last year. I'm just not seeing it. Toledo, that's the other favorite. They're at 7.5. Jesse Grisham.
Man, so sorry. Toledo. I do like DeQuan Finn. The guy was a boss last year. Sprouse, I apologize again. What was the over again? Or was it?
7.5.
Oh, yeah. So I got them under. I got 7 wins.
Murph.
Yeah, I got them at 8, possibly 9 wins. I think they're a really good team. DeQuan Finn is a stud. I think he's going to have possibly one of the best years out of all the quarterbacks in the conference. And they're returning 5 all-MAC guys on defense, which I don't think a lot of people realize how good their defense is. So that's going to help them win some ball games.
Tip?
Yeah, their defense led MAC in scoring defense last year. Gave up just under 22 points a game. I have the over. I have them at 8 wins, but I'm right there with Murph. Like, I could see them winning 9, maybe even 10 games. This team could be sneaky good this year. They're like the exact opposite of NIU last year. They had 5 losses in 1-score games. So you flip a couple of those around, and they're up there 8-9 wins. Like you mentioned earlier, Sprouse, when Toledo plays Northern Illinois, what date was that again?
October 8th.
October 8th. The winner of that game, I think, wins the West Division, and in my opinion, the winner of that game wins the conference.
I'm with you on that. Zeke, what do you got?
Yeah, I like Toledo. I like them over Northern Illinois. So I know we'll get to this later, but that West Division is definitely a little more tough. So I like Toledo. I like the over, and I like them to contend for the conference championship.
Yeah, give me the over on Toledo. I think they're going to be really good. Last year, I had them going to the championship game to play Kent because of that defense. That defense is going to, it's pretty much coming back, so they're going to be really good. Like Tip said, number 1 scoring defense in the conference last year. Their offense was number 1. I don't know if it was in scoring or yards last year. So they're good. Toledo's probably the standard in the MAC. I mean, they're usually pretty good. Although they did lose to our Blue Raiders
bowl game
in the Bahamas in the Bahamas Bowl. So
yeah, I'm just hearing a lot of y'all, and me myself, we're saying like 8-9 win seasons for 2022. I just don't see it. I think Toledo, as good as they are, they're going to get stuck up on by 2 or 3 teams on MAC Tuesdays. We're going to look at each other, going to be texting each other saying, "Wow,
probably Eastern Michigan."
More than likely, that's the team that's not going to lose. But your NIUs, and your Miami Ohio's, and your Toledo's, and your Kent States.
Well,
They're going to lose to your Bowling Greens, your Eastern Michigans on Tuesday night.
Those Tuesday night games are weird, man, because you get very, very little home field advantage. I mean, those got to be tough games to get up for.
I need to vent this real quick, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Sprouts, but if you watch a MAC game, but then you turn around and it's the same team that you watched on a Tuesday night, the commentators present this as a lesser brand of football. There's no energy. It's almost like they flew through the night from California, and they just have zero energy about the football. And that frustrates me because then you turn around and you're watching this MAC team on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and then you see the same team in a bowl playing in a bowl game, but they're presented so much better. And you're like, wow, this team is good. But it's the same team that you're like, these two teams suck when you're watching them on Tuesday and Wednesday night because of the presentation of the ball game.
No, I agree.
That's
with
one
that
thing
100%.
that just fires me up.
I agree with that 100%. You get ESPN's like, C or D team that goes in there, and you can tell they probably get around the water cooler in the morning up at ESPN, and they're like, give me the MAC game. I gotta go. They play rock, paper, scissors to go to the MAC game because they don't want to do it. They don't really prepare. I mean, half the time they spend calling the MAC game, they're talking about the SEC or Big Ten game the following weekend. I mean, they look up like 3 or 4 little stats about a couple of little players, and they keep talking about the same things over and over again. No excitement. The crowd's the crowd, but I mean, my God, at least pretend like you're happy to be there. I'm with you on that, Zeke.
It's like we talk about Sprouse. Just imagine if the MAC could maybe look at a group of 5 guys that talk about the MAC all the time, and I'm just saying.
Anybody out there, like 5 friends that cared about the MAC, that would be willing to go to the MAC games and like hang out, talk about it. I'm telling you, if they were out there, it could be in for
the
something
best broadcast
special.
ever.
Yeah, that's interesting though. I wonder if the MAC Tuesday games, like if they were on a quote lesser network, like let's say they were on Stadium or even on like a CBS Sports, so you at least had their A team versus the ESPN. You get Golick Jr. and what's Jesse's guy, Anish Scrap,
Terrible.
And they don't care. I mean, they really don't. But anyway, we got to move on.
The fighting chupacabras of Coastal Carolina.
Western Michigan 6.5. Last but not least, Grisham, what you got?
I think they announced their starting quarterback of Jake Selopik,
Freshman.
But I looked at the guy's stats in high school. The guy was a 3-star. I know we don't care about stars, but he could sling it in high school. So I like him. The running back game is strong. I know that we talk about Central Michigan, but you got Sean Taylor and Darius Jefferson. These guys are 2 power backs. They got 2,000 yards total last year. And they have an all-conference receiver, Corey Crooms. And I think their defense is going to be pretty good this year. Western Michigan is a team. They have great facilities. I think that they're just a football brand. They're going to be positive. I got them going 6-6 this year because it's kind of a rebuild here. But what they lost last year, so I'm going to go 6-6.
Murph.
Yeah, I got them at 6 wins as well. I think they have a tough non-conference schedule and having to travel all the way out to the West Coast. Play San Jose State. They got Pittsburgh at home, Michigan State on the road. So I think they finished at 6 wins. But I am rooting for that freshman quarterback because he did beat out a transfer from Alabama on that roster. So go Jake.
Yep.
Yeah, I have the under as well. I have them with 6 wins as well. You lose Caleb LB and Sky Moore. I mean, those are big time losses. So I think they take a step back. Defense is really good, and they still got some good key players on offense and also defense coming back. So I still got them winning 6 games, but just a little bit of a backward trend from the 8 ones they had last year.
Dude, Sky Moore has been lighting up camp right
Big
now, by the
time.
way. Shocking. I know that, people are watching like, who's this guy I never heard of? Like, oh, yeah. Told you. Zeke, what do you got? Western Michigan, 6.5.
Under, and I'll try to make this quick, but are y'all telling me that camp's not even over yet and they've already made a decision on quarterback? Because I thought there was a 3-way quarterback battle.
There's a
going on there.
3-way quarterback battle, but they've announced that Jack Solpik's going to be is currently running with the ones because he had a good spring. The guy from Alabama
never was.
Well, he walked on there. He wasn't recruited by Alabama. He just walked on there. He's there for 2 years, and he didn't play at all. So then he tried to go to Western Michigan, thought he could dig Western Michigan. They're like, oh, no, sir. He's like third string. Fine.
I've got the under. I think they've got some quarterback issues.
I agree with you.
So when he loses this starting job, he's then going to go back to Alabama and try and win
He'll
a
probably
national
start,
championship.
to
Is
be
that
honest.
He's going to be filling the water cooler.
The cooler.
The cooler. Hey, water boy.
I unfortunately am taking the under on this as well. Shout out to our guy Eliezer Anderson, rooting for you. Just not seeing 7 wins on that schedule. Let's get to the championship prediction. Jesse Grisham, who's in? Who wins?
Eastern Michigan has the freaking season of all seasons. They make it 10-2. They beat NIU. They make it in to play Miami of Ohio, and Eastern Michigan loses to Miami, Ohio in the conference championship game.
Murph?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to Miami of Ohio and NIU, although I'm looking forward to that Toledo-NIU game. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. But I think NIU repeats. I think they got too much coming back.
Tip.
Yeah, I know Jesse made the point earlier that, with the MAC, you don't have a lot of these teams coming back and playing in the championship game the next year or even like winning it. I think the last back-to-back MAC champion winner was back in like 2012 or something like that, if I remember that correctly.
Yep.
But I got Northern Illinois playing against Miami of Ohio, and I'm right there with Murph. I think Northern Illinois has too much talent coming back, and they've been there. They've won it, so I think they repeat, and I think they win it again.
Zeke?
I've got Miami of Ohio, Brett Gabbert versus the Toledo Rockets. And I think defense wins championships. I think their defense gets them through the West, and I think it's based upon how Finn plays, I think I'm gonna say they fall short to Miami of Ohio. I think Brett Gabbert airs it out.
Brett Gabbert could be the next Ben Roethlisberger out there.
Could be.
Red Hawk land. It all, to me, comes down to that week, October 8th. I mean, that's your MAC championship weekend. You got Toledo at NIU, and you got Kent State at Miami. I think that Toledo and NIU are the 2 top teams, like by a little bit in this conference. I think NIU is going to get Toledo at home. It's a Saturday, so they probably will have a crowd at that point in the season. And then I'm with you. I think NIU repeats. They beat Miami in the MAC championship game. That's it, man. NIU, so 3 NIUs in Eastern Michigan and a Miami.
No.
Oh yeah, you
I
had
got Eastern Michigan making it there. But I got
Miami.
Miami, Ohio.
So 3 NIUs and 2 Miami Ohio's.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. Well, that's all we got for you on the MAC. Next week,
Toledo.
Mountain West Conference. Going to take it out to Murph's neck of the woods there. Talk about some teams out west. If you like what you're seeing and listening to, make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure y'all follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Group of 5 Guys. Call the hotline, 615-900-4286. Group of 5 Guys, we're out of here.